Hey 918ers, it's Geek Boy, and it just seems like that poor struggling DC Extended Universe can't catch a break. Last week, news broke that Henry Cavill may be walking away from his career-defining role of Superman. Now, with rumors and stories flying faster than a speeding bullet, it appears, as of the making of this broadcast, that we, like the poor folks of Metropolis, may soon be living in a world without a Superman. Joining me today are Turtle Gal and Brunch and Bullets, and we're going to be discussing Henry Cavill's rumored exit, as well as what DC does now if he does indeed leave. All this and a little more on this episode of The Talking Geek, which starts right now. Hey gang, welcome back after the break. I am Geek Boy, and again joining me today are
Turtle Gal
and
Brunch and Bullet.
We're here to talk about the big news that broke last week. During the week of September 4th, both Variety and The Hollywood Reporter broke the story that Henry Cavill may be walking away from the role of Superman due to contract issues. Now, for those who don't speak Hollywoodese, that means money. Given the successful reception that the Aquaman and Shazam trailers had, I will guarantee you this is the last thing that Warner Brothers wanted. These things normally go on behind closed doors, and for it to leak out like that or be leaked out like that, that's become the number one thing that people are talking about instead of these upcoming movies. And it places, just one more item in the public's mind that the struggling DCEU may be floundering altogether. I mean, the DCEU has not had the easiest trip to the screen, with one notable exception, which is Wonder Woman. And it has lagged behind Marvel in quality, box office performance, and even public perception. At least that's how I see it. Do you see it that way also?
They tried to reestablish Superman, and I think that they didn't give Cavill enough speaking time to fulfill the role of Superman.
I would agree with that, and you brought that up. I didn't realize until someone actually made a note of it. He doesn't have a lot of lines in Man of Steel, so that's also something that hurts the character. Bullets, what do you think?
I didn't notice that until you just pointed it out. So
I know it's ironic, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's a little odd, but I like him as Superman, and yes, Superman's been done to death over and over again.
The Donner Supermans were very good.
Christopher Reeves couldn't play Superman anymore, so they had to bring it up, and on top of that, they were planning on Justice League, so he is the backbone of the Justice League. It's Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. They're the core
Trinity.
three. Yeah, they're the core three of that, and they had to do something, but now, we've lost our Batman.
And of course Justice League tanked beyond what anyone thought it would ever do. And so now we're left with Aquaman, Shazam, and Wonder Woman 84 to right the ship. And we've all seen trailers for Aquaman and Shazam. They look great. We've seen some set pics from Wonder Woman 84. It looks like they're going with that strong color palette like we were talking about. And so surely this was going to be okay, right?
Don't put the cart before the horse.
Well,
because
so September of 2018, Henry Cavill may be leaving the role of Superman. And again, as we talked about, this is strictly a money issue because it's my understanding he has 4 pictures in his contract. He's made 3, and it's, from what everyone can tell, they're wanting to burn off the rest of his contract in cameo appearances in other movies, which means less money for him.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he probably thinks, I signed on to make 4 Superman films or 4 films with Superman in them, not to be the connective tissue between all these other films that you're making. So, they've also announced that Right now, Supergirl's a priority. But it's not going to be a Supergirl film starring Melissa Benoist.
And she's Supergirl.
I know. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Where does DC go from here if they do lose him? Where do they go from here? Are they done?
I can't see them letting him walk away. I know they're trying to recoup some money.
Keep in mind, there is no active Superman project in development right now. So it's not like Henry Cavill's been fired. There's no. I mean, how can he walk away from a role that there's nothing actively developing in right now?
And you know what? Given the right director,
absolutely,
he could play Superman the way he was meant to be played.
Well, because we saw that in Justice League at the end. CG mouth and all. The characterization of the character was right. So, could this be posturing on Henry Cavill's part? Because Mission Impossible Fallout made a ton of money. So his star, and he just signed with Netflix, Henry Cavill did, to be the lead in a Witcher TV series, which is a property he is very passionate about.
Because he's a big nerd.
He is. He's very passionate about that. So maybe he's posturing, or maybe his agents are posturing, to try to get him a better deal, which is fine. And also, I believe IT Geek told me that he's kind of throwing his hat in the ring to be the next James Bond.
Yeah. Which I can see that.
He'd be a great Bond.
So, so this could all be rendered academic.
He's James Bond and Superman, like what?
I know, that would be insane, wouldn't it? Wow.
It's extreme.
That is extreme.
It's an extreme thing to think about.
Okay, guys, so to kind of get us back on topic here where we were, because everything we've talked about is true, and all these systemic problems, I think, have led to where we are. Again, this could be nothing, or could it mean that we end up with a DCEU without a Superman? Do you think that'll happen?
No.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think the fans will allow that to happen.
Why? But that's not DC. I mean, why?
Right.
Superman is DC.
Right.
Right.
And that's, why...
Well, you could almost make the same argument Batman is,
yes.
too, and they've lost both of them.
Okay, and so, and that's my thing is okay, we need to figure out how to make this right.
And you may be right. Maybe nothing does happen. Maybe everybody resolves their differences, and we go on down the road. Or do you think they're going to reboot the DCEU only, 5 films in?
But at this moment, the only constant that DECU has is Gal and Henry. And that's it. They could lose Aquaman because Aquaman hasn't come out yet. And if it tanks, guess what?
They just want to make another one.
It was a mistake. It tanked. We didn't really know. It was a new spin on him, and the fans didn't care for it.
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. No, and it couldn't. It might not. But at the same time, he's not known enough as Aquaman to be a constant.
And Aquaman was a B character.
Just final thought.
I don't think they'll be done. I think they'll figure out a way to resolve their issues. But I understand where Cavill's coming from. I don't want to be a cameo on somebody else's show. He's like,
well, no. If he can do a cameo and keep his Superman movie, his last movie cameo, do his last movie, but do cameos in other movies. Let's face it, Robert Downey Jr. does it.
Oh, yeah.
But what's the point of keeping him as Superman if you're just going to have him do cameos, but not give him another movie?
Because there's the other thing. Robert Downey Jr. has to show up. Henry Cavill has to eat 4,000 calories a day for quite a long time to get in that.
There's a lot more muscle mass there.
There is. And they could do the Shazam thing, but give him a padded suit. But
well, that's because Shazam is a comedy.
That's true.
And he's also a child, for sure.
That's true. So, guys, that's it. There's our thoughts, such as they are, on the future of the DCEU. Oh, did I answer it? I'll be happy to answer it. Right now, Warner Brothers is kind of in a similar situation to Paramount in that they have 2 of their big leads walking away from very high-profile projects over money. Paramount's case is a little bit different in the case of Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth walking away from Star Trek 4 because Paramount cannot make this movie without them. They've got to have Chris Hemsworth in order to sell their investors to get the funding for the film, and Chris Pine to reassure not only the investors but the fans as well that, hey, this is going to be the same Kelvin timeline type movie that you've been watching. This is our new Star Trek. It's going to be consistent. So They have to have the two of them locked down to make this movie. Warner Brothers has a few different options to bring to bear. Assuming Henry Cavill does not return. Let's assume that he's gone, he's done. Let's assume that Ben Affleck is done, gone. I think they're going to bring in a Supergirl movie, and I think they're going to bring in a Batgirl movie, because I've heard that's secretly being developed. And then you've got Wonder Woman, Batgirl, and Supergirl as the face of the DCEU. But when you start talking about things like that, you're talking about the ramifications that ripple throughout the entire DC extended universe, the DC movie universe, the worlds of DC, whatever it is they're calling it now. And that, quite frankly, is another topic for another video. And that video is on its way soon. And until it arrives, this is Geek Boy signing off to everyone in the 918. Peace.